check this out. Let's see. This is this a Morphologis video, Pepe? Okay. If we must. Now, this is going to be something near and dear to my heart, instancing. And we talked about this tech and the way that they're going to bring about missioning areas where PvEers don't want to have to deal with like PvPers. And in most cases, I endorse it. And they're pretty much going to instance areas, I hope, in just lawful space. Instancing areas in lawless space is what I would consider a bad area to go into to do instancing, but that could be a deeper conversation. Let's get into this video and let's see what Morph has to say about instancing could fix or break Star Citizen. And I actually agree with this title.
Some of the best moments in Star Citizen
and before we even dive in, there is a problem. Like, Fingers is a seasoned Star Citizen. He plays PvP, PvE, and everything. And even Fingers is saying, you know, he went to a CZ today and he said the griefing is just like out of hand. So I get it. Like, that exists. I don't really mind it when I'm in Pyro. Like, I just expect it. And I think that's the style of gameplay I'm accustomed to growing up the way I did. But I think in like lawful areas, yes. I think instancing could come in really handy. I'm just worried about instancing in lawless space.
I've ever had aren't even the ones that the developers had planned. They're not the ones you see on the website or in advertisements on social media.
I don't think we need
that. He blew himself up with a grenade! he blew himself up with a grenade!
He's like, you'll never take me alive!
Yeah, I don't like Morph is like, it's kind of annoying watching Morph doing good on gameplay. It really is. Like, I don't even know if it's good gameplay or not, but like, to me, when I watch this, no offense, you know, I know that sounds very offensive, but like, I don't know what it is about Morph. It feels cringy. Like, when I'm watching him and he's like, oh, he blew himself up with a grenade. And I get it. Like, if that were anybody else, I think I'd be happy listening to them laugh and everything. It's just something about Morph and the gameplay and the laughing. Like, I dig his videos on like interiors. He gets into like the Architect series. Totally listen to the reviews and the advice on ship design. But like, when it comes to almost anything else, some of the op-ed pieces are good, but like some of the gameplay, I just wouldn't recommend it. Like, that's just constructive criticism to me. It's just like how you come off like playing the game, Morph. And I'm not being like, I know it's just my overall perspective, and I get like people are gonna get angry at me and like, how dare you say this. This is just my personal preference, right? I just don't necessarily like, I'm like, I guess I'm a little bit more, I'm silly when I'm playing the game. I wouldn't call my shit cringy or annoying, but you know, there's been plenty cringy, annoying times I've had throughout the many years of this channel. I mean, Jesus, almost any video like prior, like circa 2016 and before, is pretty cringy. Like, maybe I should just give Morph the space that he needs to like grow into the gameplay. I don't know. I'm no expert. I'm just an old man playing video games who's been doing this for a very long time, and maybe some type of like criticism here can help him or not. I imagine he doesn't like me. Like, I think that Morph probably wouldn't like me personally because like the whole bomb thing and how we had a blast with that. Okay, let's keep.
He did.
What?
I wanted to give myself a death of an honorable death. I wanted an honorable death. I wanted an honorable death. You will not take me alive.
They're the ones that just kind of happened. A stranger flashing their light in the dark, voice coming out of the quiet, offering some help, or two players just deciding to tackle the same mission together just because they cross paths. Those moments, the unplanned, human ones, that's the soul for me of Star Citizen.
I don't know if I believe that. I would love that if that were the case for him, but he has argued so many issues against PvP at times that did make sense to me. Some arguments that I don't necessarily believe him when he says that, you know?
With Citizen Con's reveal of instanced missions, like the reworked Siege of Orison event and the new Municipal Works that's going to come to Levski in the new Nix system, the game might be heading towards something a bit more structured than we've had in the past. A cleaner, more consistent kind of experience, yes, but one that begs the difficult question. Can you bring order to chaos without losing the soul of
the chaos? Because the chaos is, in essence, the order. It's a symbiosis. You know, like, in order for the game to be exciting and fresh and dangerous, it has to have unexpected situations happen. And the only way that can happen is in an MMO sandbox that truly endorses danger. And this is one of the things that I railed against Frontier Development about, and why the game had a very, very quick decline in death, is because they stopped focusing on interactions with players, and they focused too much on a PvE fetch quest A to B mission style, no meaning to the economy. And they're starting to fix it. They really are. So I give props to Frontier Development because they're on their way to, looks like, to a turnaround. What's up, Wooksy? What's up, man? 4 years, 48 months, man. Wooksy, let's give him an amen. Thank you, Wooksy. I love you, bro. Wooksy, if you're in the VIP room in Discord, check out what Wooksy's going to be giving away. We got lined up for December. November and December are going to be awesome months for giveaways. So if you guys are not patrons or YouTube members, you guys get your butts over there and become it, and you're automatically entered for every giveaway. The next 2 months are going to be great, so you guys don't want to miss that. Let's get back to this, and we'll get into this discussion a little bit deeper. Let's just keep watching.
what makes Star Citizen so special? That's what I wanted to explore in this video. What instancing is going to mean for Star Citizen's future, the problems it's meant to fix, and the very thing it might put at risk. Instancing isn't something new. It's a system that creates a separate version of missions for specific groups of players, something that we've had in a lot of other MMOs in the past. It's actually a hallmark of MMOs just in general. It often is used to control pacing, stabilize performance, and to avoid overcrowding for a specific story they want to tell. CIG confirmed that it's going to be coming to Star Citizen next year in 2026, beginning with the reworked version of Siege of Orison and an upcoming new mission type, the Municipal Works, which is going to be beneath Levski. When you enter an instance mission, you and your group are going to be moved to a dedicated shard that's separate from the main universe, tailored for your experience. A contained environment with predictable spawns, stable networking, and a clear narrative flow, unlike what happened before with events like Siege of Orison. On paper, that's definitely progress. It means fewer broken events, fewer bugs, and more cinematic control. But if you've played Star Citizen's open events before, you already know that this change could be promising, but it's also kind of worrying, which is why the chat was on fire during the live stream when they announced this. There's a lot of different opinions in this community, and I wanted to explore that a little bit. So let's first talk about the upside of doing instances. Now, the case for doing instancing is pretty strong. Large-scale events like Siege of Orison have always suffered from chaos. I remember very, very well how that went the first couple of times they ran it. With dozens of players entering at different times, the pacing collapses. Objectives overlap, enemies bug out, the players then end up just missing key story moments entirely, not knowing what's going on whatsoever. Instancing is meant to fix that. It lets CIG craft a more cinematic mission style with actual story arcs that you can experience, where scenes trigger properly, dialogue lands at the right time, and every participant experiences the mission as they intend. It also opens the door to a tighter, story-driven type of gameplay, missions that feel handcrafted rather than just procedural. For players who just want to experience a story without dealing with unpredictable crowds and broken scripting, there were a lot of griefers in some of these events, even though they were isolated instances. Instancing could finally make Star Citizen feel like a complete game for those people. Unfortunately, as cool as it is to have a really open experience for these types of big events, the structure, stability, and clarity of them really suffers because of its open-ended nature, and is why Star Citizen can feel like it's not even a game for some people. Going back to the Siege of Orison for a moment, when CIG ran that original event, it was
any good game, any good MMO is an experience unto itself. It's an escape from the reality to go into it. And the more structured that it gets, the more confined I feel the game becomes. And one of it's like almost, in a way, the way I grew up, when it was at its most simplistic format, when MMO was at its most simplistic format, was, I think, the peak of MMO gaming. I mean, I know this kind of sounds like a crazy idea, but like, think this through with me. Like, the inception of the MMO, when it first hit, was peak MMO. And I think everything forward from that origin point has done nothing but like decay and degrade through conditioning systems in MMOs to continually confine people in boxes. An MMO is the very antithesis of a box. It's a sandbox. It's an open world. It's an area where anything could happen. And the second you start to kind of confine things in boxes, you have to be very careful. Right. You feel the walls crowding in on you, and you're like, can I do anything where I can go anywhere and be as free as I want to be in this game? Because then if I can, great, that's where I want to be. And I think most of the devs with Cloud Imperium realize that. I think Elliot understands this. Obviously, I think Chris understands this to a degree, which is, you want the MMO to be a pure place where chaos can happen. If you take the chaos away, that mystique, the danger, the unexpected, that's the actual draw. Whether PvE people that play PvE want to admit it or not, I think that PvEers understand that too. I think it crosses the line when somebody just takes shit out on people and then, calls themselves a PvPer, but in essence, they're more griefing people just to grief people, right? That's where the real and the game world kind of the lines muddle. And that's why it's such a battle all the time, because there's plenty of people that are PvPing out there that play by the rules of the game, right? And insofar as what the devs have designed, they are PvPing within that frame of mind, the way the devs designed it. Those are PvPers. And I think a lot of times PvEers get that confused, and they think that every PvPer is a griefer, and they can't define between the two. And so they want to tuck themselves into a box. They want to keep themselves away from the danger. And there is a danger in that you kill the MMO. So, there's always got to be a balance. I think Cloud Imperium is very well intact and knows the overall mission of what they're looking to accomplish with Star Citizen, the persistent universe, and that is to keep the game relatively dangerous. But you're seeing more systems come in, and they're bringing more revenue in as they're bringing new fun events to do. And they're realizing as these events take place, now they've got to find a way to box these areas with instancing. Essentially, in layman's terms, this is what we're speaking of.
Meant to be one of the game's defining moments, a live cooperative event uniting players against Crusader's criminal occupation. And technically speaking, it did get better over time. Bosses started spawning more reliably, progress tracked correctly, and the missions finally ran from start to finish. But even when that happened, it rarely worked the way that it should for a lot of people, and I would say probably even a majority. There was no limit on how many players could join, and so when you started, sometimes you'd get lucky and spawn into a quiet server, and the pacing would flow through the objectives like it's supposed to, and it would make sense, and you'd actually see the story unfold, but most of the time, it didn't turn out that way. Veterans would speedrun objectives, leaving newer players wandering through empty courtyards or endless respawning waves of enemies until they died, and then when they finally got back, the event would already pretty much be over.
I mean, it's almost to be expected now that it's kind of like an open event unto itself. I would just bring some friends and make sure that the tram you take is with a group of friends and that they're not going to do that shit to you. I mean, that's kind of common sense, really.
Because of the sheer population density, most people would never even see the bosses, even if they were in the front with the rest of the people. All they'd see is just some notifications that somebody had been killed somewhere and it's time to move on to somewhere else.
Yeah.
Then there were also, obviously, griefers. Players were camping in some cases the shuttle stations with grenade launchers and wiping out entire groups before they could even touch the ground outside of the shuttle. It wasn't broken because of bugs anymore after that point where they actually finally made it work right, it was broken because there was just no pacing, there was no rhythm, no structure.
And this is prior to instancing, and this is Morph giving a very good example of why instancing could be very valuable for Star Citizen and Cloud Imperium to employ, which I do agree with. I do agree with him. I think in these areas, actually, I agree with him, Looksy. Like in lawful space, I agree. There should be these areas. I just don't think they should do them in lawless areas. That's where I draw the line. For me, that's my stance on it.
No fairness really when there were issues with people griefing. That's the chaos that instancing is designed to fix. And so I really can understand why something like
ostentatious. You're having the hardest time watching this video right now. Look at Austin. I don't know. It's like the music too. Like I would so here's something, by the way, Morph, if you're still watching, which I know he's not, but I offer constructive criticism. I mean, I get it. I've got 20,000 subscribers and Morph has 10 times the amount. I mean, I'm not. So you're catering to, a minority by listening to me right now. However, I will say that I think what you should do is the music selection, right, Austin? Do you feel like the music might be contributing to your feeling? Because Austin said, God, he's boring. Being an Englishman, I find him extra boring. Now, when an Englishman calls you boring, that's double boring. Am I right, Retro? Retro's English too. When English men call another man boring, you're double boring. You went way past the boring line, right? Thank you, Retro. It's very sad trombone, right, Aether? It is so. Zap says it's not the music, it's the singer.
Siege of Orison would benefit from this kind of system.
Thank you for being here tonight,
here's
everybody.
the other
Hope you're having
side
fun.
of this argument.
Love you all.
What keeps me cautious about doing instancing is that the chaos is also what makes Star Citizen feel alive. Just a few days ago, for example, I had two experiences that reminded me of just that thing before I even thought of making this video. The first happened inside of one of the new ASD Onyx facilities. Interestingly, a location that CIG originally conceived of as the testbed for doing instancing, but of course that got moved back. I had just stepped into the research wing out of the elevator when another player appeared nearby me and flashed their light in the dark. He thanked me then for not shooting him because I guess that had happened to him before, and then he talked to me over proximity chat, and then we just ended up teaming up together to go through the new section that they had added in that patch. It wasn't a planned experience, it wasn't something that CIG thought was going to happen, but it was still perfect. It was just one of the best experiences I had had yet in that facility.
The old days, guys.
Later again, while exploring deeper in the complex, the phase where you finally discover Jort's lab, I ran into a French player, and without even coordinating, we decided to team up again. We covered each other, pieced together the story, we shared the victory and the loot that we found, and then we cleared the whole area and got out alive. Two completely different people, completely different situations in the same place, creating a story that neither of us could have done alone. And that, to me, is the soul of what makes Star Citizen so special, so unique from other games, other MMOs you can find out there. Those small human collusions that turn a game into a living universe. If CIG locks missions strictly to preformed parties, those encounters are just gonna vanish. To me, that's not a minor detail. That's a connective tissue of the community. There will always be more.
He's so right on that. I mean, this is amazing that I'm agreeing with the majority of what he's speaking of. And if you were to box it all away and put it in its box and instant all away from any outside contact, it does take away from the connective tissue that is the actual sandbox, that is the MMO. So I absolutely do agree with what is going on here. I'm agreeing with Morph. I'm not sure if I believe him that these are actually his beliefs, but hey, I'm agreeing with the things that he's saying. The thing is I think that it's fine to box this away, this connective tissue of the MMO, in areas that are lawful for people that do not want to be interrupted, and as long as servers can handle it and the tech handles the ability to shuttle people to different boxes, and each of these experiences are had without interruption and stability, which, that's going to take forever, then okay. Then I agree with that in lawful space. It's what he's talking about right now. The connective tissue is in lawless space. And this is why I was waiting to get to this point here. And I'm glad he got to it, because I'm not even sure that it was something that what I would have brought up had he not brought this up, this connective tissue. The connective tissue of an MMO is really important, and therefore the dev should balance this. And the reason I'm talking about why I want instancing in lawless or in lawful space and no instancing in lawless space. So instancing in lawful space, no instancing in lawless space is the connective tissue. If you're going to box up the lawless space where everything is open, that's when you start limiting and the connective tissue goes away. You cannot box and instance up things in lawless space or you will have a problem. That's okay, Betty. We'll talk later about it, bro.
For players in-game than on the Discord servers or in the Spectrum forums. And when the world itself creates the conditions for connection, that's, I think, where the real...
See, now that's another good thing to talk about Fingers. And, Fingers is like, basically right now, all the loot boxes are empty when you get into Pyro. We're talking about like loot on missions, right? If that's a difficult thing to talk about, because then we're going to get into the technicals. We're going to get into like server based issues at that point, Yeah.
magic of Star Citizen can happen. That's the part that I think is really...
And frankly, if they instanced, then all the loot in theory should be contained within the instance for the people in lawful space. Right, Fingers? I mean, I'm theorizing here. Right. Like in an instance space, in a lawful space where you can get in with your party and you can have that experience, all the loot should be ready to go and populated and spawned and ready to go. And no one else should be able to steal that because it's in an instanced area. It's in a box. And the more people take on the mission, the more instances there are where everybody's having these instances, which is, that's going to cause a strain on tech, on server tech. So you've got technical hurdles. And like Morph said, this is not anything new. Like instancing's happened before on other MMOs. If they're going to employ it here, they have to make sure that there are stable environments for people. They can get into them and the loot's ready to go. When we take what I said and then apply no instancing to lawless space, right? On those events, those boxes will probably be looted all the time. And I don't know if I have a problem with that. Like something about me, like really old school Fingers, is like, I don't necessarily know if I would have a problem with all the loot boxes being taken away on missions in a lawless system. And then would I more so blame the devs and them not putting in a game design or ability to handle that? Or would I be more upset at myself thinking like, why am I just not okay with this? Cause it's all lawless in the first place. Like you go like first, you'd be mad at the devs. Okay. So yeah, I mean like, okay, so then we're going to talk about balancing and possibly putting instance places in lawless space. So like on Fingers take, like Fingers might want some type of instancing in lawless space. And then you got to say, okay, well, how are you going to do this? If you want to go Fingers' route, am I correct, Fingers, on that? He says always blame someone else on Reddit. Yeah.
Worth preserving. So then this debate has got the community pretty split.
Cool,
those opposed to instancing are saying that open events are what makes Star Citizen unique. And I think they're right. And those saying that instancing is the only way to create a truly playable, coherent mission are also right.
Broken.
You see, both sides here are right. Instancing is a critical thing for delivering a proper story and making missions consistent. But the freedom to cross paths with strangers, to form spontaneous teams and rivalries, that's what Star Citizen has at its soul. That's what makes it special, at least in my opinion, and clearly in a lot of other backers' opinions too.
So the way to get around this and the way to make Morph happy is to not take away the connective tissue, not put the box around instancing in lawless space. However, if we go with that route, you have to be careful about the loot because the loot's going to always be looted, like Fingers said. So, that's why I think just based off upon first principles, like and game design that I know of, and game dev that I know of, that I would just, for now at this particular juncture, I would keep instancing for lawful space, not do instancing in lawless space, and just let lawless be lawless for a while until like maybe we can figure out how to deal with an issue, the Fingers' issue about the loot, right?
The way I see it is that other MMOs use instancing out of necessity because they have limited technology, smaller servers, stricter budget.
And like Orson, I'm very hardcore like Orson. Orson says you're competing over those boxes in lawless space with no instancing, and the guy who got there before you is the new loot box, and that is the beauty of the way that I play. I'm very hardcore, just like you, Orson. And I'm completely fine with that. This, like I was talking about like at the very, very beginning of this, Orson. It's like I come from the birth of the MMO, and in its most simplistic, pure form, the MMO, that was the peak, and it's just kind of gone downhill in general. And in most game dev has gone down ever since, because I'm fine with these instance places in lawful space, but you got to be careful about putting instancing in lawless space. That's my thing, Yeah. And, there's plenty of people that want, like, and me included, that would like an instance where I'm not bothered by anybody. I can go in with friends. I can play the story. I can play it out. I know what's happening in the story with my friends, Now, Fatbird's in here. What's up, Fatbird? How you doing, man? Good to see you in here. Fatbird is saying PvP instance could be neat too if it's diegetic, i.e. like a gang and pyro sets up an arena fight to the death. Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool idea. Earn rewards, rep, etc. Essentially inverse Star Marine. Yeah, dude. That actually is a good idea. That's a great idea, Fatbird.
But Star Citizen went even further than anyone else. They took the long way around, you might say, and to an insane budget to nobody's surprise. It turns out doing things the hard way is really expensive. CIG then built the tech to make these large-scale, shared persistent universes possible. It would be a mistake then not to use that to keep the universe alive. The solution to me then isn't just picking one over the other, it's to merge both of them together. A kind of hybrid system that preserves both structure and the spontaneity of the open universe that we've known so far. Imagine smaller parties then grouped together in the same instance, meeting naturally mid-mission, or an in-game party finder that lets players connect right at the mission's entrance, especially for new players who don't yet have a crew and don't know how to get involved. Maybe CIG could allow late joiners or secondary objectives that keep the world more dynamic and even make it more interesting after an instance concludes. Those are the kinds of design choices that can make instancing work for me, I think, in the community, and make it work with it and not against it. Guiding the experience, but not sterilizing it. Because definitely, instancing will make Star Citizen actually work. But the community is what will make it matter. Star Citizen then has always been a game about extremes, technological ambition meeting human scale, and as CIG moves toward a more structured experience, the challenges aren't going to just be performance or storytelling. It's going to be keeping the universe alive. If instancing can strike that balance, order without isolation, clarity without conformity, it could transform Star Citizen into something truly special, transcendent from other MMOs we've seen in the past. If not, it risks becoming just yet another world of private bubbles where everything runs perfectly but nothing really feels...
Yeah, and that's a really good point, Dotson. And I don't know exactly how they should implement this. Like Dotson says, this feels premature without scanning and social tools, as if like we actually should have like the necessary scanning for exploration ships and social tools in the UI and the Mobi to handle these types of things, where like, possibly could help out with dealing with missions in lawless space that aren't instanced, right? I get it, dude. Like I get it, Dotson.
Alive or real.
Yeah,
anymore.
it's like this is Cloud Imperium, the devs working on this, their way of dealing with how to implement handling the new events that they've created. Essentially. What's up, Seraph? 28 months like a boss. Yeah. What's happening here is an evolution in population, in player population. So like, these events have brought in a lot of new faces. These events have brought in a lot of new revenue and money. I remember long ago when Elliot was watching Inside Star Citizen here on the channel, and we were talking about just this. And this is before all, THUR, this is before all these missions started landing, all these events that they've programmed in as patches, essentially, that bring in new people. It's like, here's the new DLC patch. Here, come on in, play all the new shit, right? These are things we talked about with Elliot, like, long ago, like 3 years ago. He shows up on the Inside Star Citizen all the time back in the day. And when he just started working there, we did talk about this, how we need to actually, like, bring people in through level design. Like, we need more level design. We need more things to do. But they knocked this out of the park. I mean, they went home run mode on this with Hathor and Stormbreaker and all these new events they're bringing in here. They found a way to bring more excitement than just the ships. And it marries itself with ship sales so nicely that they're having another record-breaking year. As a business, they're super healthy. They're bringing in so much revenue right now. It's ridiculous. So, they're almost at the Billy phase. I talk about this all the time. When Cloud Imperium hits the Billy phase, that's $1 billion. You already start to see changes. You're already starting to see changes right now. They've taken a step back. They're not as transparent. They don't feel like they need to be. They've hit a level of success to the point where this isn't like the beginning of the project anymore. This isn't like the old school days the vets and I know of that we grew up in, like from the Kickstarter. This is not that. This is much, much bigger, and this is a new phase of growth for Cloud Imperium, and they're stepping into it like a boss, and now they're almost at the Billy phase. And so you're seeing the changes now. So like, you see a level of success hitting that a lot of the naysayers said could not happen. So many people out there throughout this entire journey have said that this has been a scam. And I think now more than ever, you're seeing such a new influx of player population playing the game and liking it, knowing it's an alpha, not really having a problem with it, like some people who got involved a year or two ago or longer. The stigma of the scam thing is going away. The newer people are coming in and they're like, I'm actually having a good time with this game. I get it. It's buggy. It's an alpha. They don't generally get as upset. The RSI website is now set up in such a manner where it's very you understand it. It's very intelligent. Like, if you want to ship, here's your ship. Here's how you play the game. Boom, bang, boom, boom. You're in. The whole process is a lot smoother. Sales are up, and this is putting a lot of the people who said this game's a scam to shame. There's still some people saying it's a scam. I think at this point, anybody that causes Star Citizen a scam is ignorant, doesn't understand game dev, or just doing it to clickbait and just monetizing you. At this point, those people are irrelevant to this space as far as I am concerned. The clickbaiters and the rage baiters and the people that are like faking drama, I think they're irrelevant. I don't even think they matter to this space anymore. Like, I find it hilarious that these guys even get views anymore. And we're talking about big people. We're talking about big names. I don't even get how they get the views anymore. Oh yeah, wait, that's right. They use clickbait tactics and they get you in and tell you what the sky is falling. And yet this game is right here. And it's getting better and better and better. And the progression's happening faster and faster and faster. And they're almost at the Billy phase. There's so many people that don't understand how important it is to hit that 1 billion mark. It's over the heads of these kiddos. They don't even get it. They don't even understand the business model. They don't understand what's happening behind the scenes. They don't even understand the fact that it's already a success. In this alpha format, it's already a success. And they're going to continually bring in new people. The more the patches they get, the more DLC patches they bring in here. This is a great combination. This is chemistry. This is what you're seeing is success. What you're seeing is success. There's no other way to look at it. Like you could play any crazy clip of like how buggy this game is. And I think the people that are in the know are the people that understand that this is already a success. People are having good times with it in its current format. And, as buggy, as crazy as it gets, you keep coming back to this. How many people have left and come back and left and come back and left and come back? I mean, so many people. So many people. I know a couple people in the community that left years ago that are back today. Right. Like they try to get away from it. It gets buggy to the point where like some things happen in the game, maybe have a bad experience, but then you have that one good experience, and that one good experience takes away all that bad. And then you think about that good experience and it's better than the other games that you play. It's really as simple as that. And I think what you see a lot of the time is people who misrepresent the game on purpose to make money from the YouTube platform, from people that click into it, and just offer this crazy narrative that really why are people like attracted to these clickbait titles and thumbnails, this fake, like it's so crazy to me. When people aren't actually getting the facts, like, people aren't actually, but I think whether you're new or they've been around a while and you're with this, I think these people are the majority people. I think they get it. It wouldn't have got to the billion phase. You understand? It wouldn't have got to the billion phase. There's plenty of people. The majority of people unfortunately the quiet majority they're quiet. They're the ones that get it. They don't fall for it. They don't fall for the clickbait. They might click on the clickbait. Shame on you, by the way. I'm publicly shaming you, for clicking on the, hold on a second. Where's my shame button, Pepe? Publicly shaming you for clicking on that bait.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
You're monetizing somebody. You're helping them. But like, those people, I think, even understand at this point that this is a success. There's no other way to look at this. I mean, $1 billion. It's crazy. There's just no other way to look at it. If you're an adult, is there a chance they might fail? Yeah. Is there a chance that, we might not get to the end point? Absolutely. I'm not jaded. I get it. But the business model is so secure right now. It's crazy. This business model is so secure and so fucking revolutionary. They were the first in line to get fan funding on this level. They're the first ever to get this kind of fan funding. And you can't just tuck that under the covers and pretend that doesn't exist. And anybody that says anything differently, I think, frankly, again, ignorant, doesn't understand game development. We're just trying to monetize you. I mean, it's pretty plain and simple.
But what do you guys think? What do you think about my take here on how to solve this problem? And what's your solution?
Yeah.
Should they keep instancing? Should they get rid of it? Should they have something in between? I want to know what you guys think down below. I know this is a hot topic for the community, so I'm eager to see what you guys are thinking and to engage in that conversation. Otherwise, if you like the video, you know what to do. Hope to see you in the next one.
I just can't get that rage. All right, everybody. That is Morph. Let's get back to the show here.